and initially to help relatives and exposed abuse in care homes, and it's kind of grown into a massive thing. Up to the beginning of this year, 1,500 whistleblowers have come to us for help. 70% from the care industry, 30% from other areas, because I don't turn whistleblowers away, and the themes and the patterns are the same. So I started to collect evidence on these themes and patterns, and on our website, Compassion in Care, we have 3 documents. Breaking the Silence Part 1 is the evidence from 1,500 whistleblowers, and they're extracts of what they're telling us, and people cannot access PIDA, firstly. Most whistleblowers cannot even access the law. Firstly, you have to find £2,000 to get into a tribunal. Secondly, you have to save up for legal representation before you report the abuse, because you're not protected, and any law that you can't access is worse than no law at all. The word has got out as well that PIDA does not protect whistleblowers. So the message that's got out is people are saying to me, oh, I know a whistleblower and they were totally stitched up by the law and I can't say anything. Can you do something about the abuse in this care home? That's the kind of thing that people are saying to me all of the time. So people can't access solicitors, and then you've got the situation where people have got perfect work records. They're nice, normal people considered good workers to the day they blow the whistle on abuse. And then they are the problem. The problem itself is never dealt with. It's those people that are targeted. And the kinds of things that people are telling me is happening to them every day are things like they've gone to their locker and found their pockets of their coat has been filled with grass canes. Their car has been scratched. They've been called, the big thing that's been said to whistleblowers at the minute is loose lips sink ships. And there's one lady who told me recently she suffers 8 hours of that every day. That's the only words she hears from the time she goes to work to the time she comes home. How long can you last under those circumstances? Your workplace becomes a nightmare where you have to walk through a tunnel of hate every day, and the fear of tomorrow in the end catches you. In the end, your health suffers. The other thing that happens is that if people report internally, they are laying themselves open to being exposed if they go outside after. And if they report abuse and nothing's done by their manager, they know if they go outside, they'll lose their job. And people are losing their job. They're being forced out. So you've got situations where you need 2 people to hoist someone, and they're telling people that nobody will work with them to hoist someone, and they say you have to do it on your own, and then they're being sacked because they just hoisted somebody on their own. So, you know, people are being asked to do the impossible and being sacked when they can't do it. And the strain and the stress, but most importantly, the trust in your employer is gone. And that is something that's very hard to compensate for. I suppose when, I started doing this, the big thing that I learned is that if I had to go back and do it again, what would I do differently? I'd do one thing. I wouldn't dial P for police, I'd dial P for Panorama. Because if we had cameras, to this day, Bupa call us liars, even though it was all upheld, even though 27 other witnesses came forward, Bupa said they were liars, and they said social services were liars for upholding all of the allegations in full. So it was a total denial at any cost. But the cost is that vulnerable people are suffering. If we don't protect the protectors, then nothing will change. And often as not, the only people that are seeing this kind of abuse are the staff in the homes. We also deal with relatives. So I'm kind of seeing the fallout from both sides. I'm seeing the families that have lost their mother or their father in the most horrendous circumstances. And I'm also seeing the staff that tried to flag it up but was ignored. They'll probably be embarrassed, but in the audience today is the Panorama whistleblower who came to me last year, one of 11 staff in one home who lost their jobs for caring. We took... and I'm so proud of her. And, you know, that's the thing that keeps me going, is with all the bad stuff that I deal with every day, and it's heartbreaking, there's so many staff that care enough to risk everything, their homes, their livelihoods, their future. And I think that these staff deserve to be protected by law, and that law is not PEDA. PEDA was written for policies and procedures. The charity that wrote it sells policies and procedures to industry. To me, there's a conflict of interest. Straight away. You can't have a law that relies on policies and procedures. I had one young care worker who was told to go into the office and ask the manager for the whistleblowing policy. It was the manager she was trying to report. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but it's common sense doesn't come into it with the people that drafted this law. And they're telling me that this is the best law in the world. God help everyone else, is all I can say. So the evidence from 1,500 whistleblowers is on our website, Compassion in Care. Since Panorama, 1,000 more whistleblowers have come forward from all areas, and it is horrendous. And in every case, the question was asked, did whistleblowing stop the abuse? And every case, the answer was no. So these people cared enough to risk everything, and it didn't stop the wrongdoing from continuing, because the whistleblower was the target of the attention and not the wrongdoing. And to be honest, it's easier to employ abusers than it is whistleblowers. If you say you're a whistleblower, you might as well say you're a paedophile, because you get the same reaction. I've sat in interviews and seen people's faces when you say, oh, why did you leave your last job? Oh, well, I'm a whistleblower. I think the thing is, I got angry. And this quiet little person who'd never complained about anything in her life suddenly became the bane of the authorities' life. We protest, we wrote letters in the hundreds and still do. Mind you, I've taken to Twitter now, so it's a lot easier on the paper. So I'd urge people to have a look at Breaking the Silence Part 1. This has gone into government with Breaking the Silence 2 and 3. My husband did the artwork, cartoons. Breaking the Silence 4 will be out early next year, and that's the evidence since Panorama. The media every day help me save people's lives because the authorities are not there. The abuse doesn't stop when people raise these concerns and tell people what's going on. So what I'd say is thank God for people like the Panorama whistleblowers that came forward. Thank God for all the people that contact me every day, because the scale is horrendous about what's happening to people, and nothing has been done about it, and that is the real tragedy. Also, I deal with whistleblowers from other areas, and the link and the common themes are exactly the same. The fear for those people going into work each day and facing what they face is horrendous, regardless of whether they're coming from the care industry, you know, all different professions. I think that by standing together across the world, Whistleblowers United is the way to change things, because I honestly believe that people power can change things, and we have social media and we can put these stories up, and we're going to keep chipping away in what we do until we get justice. And I'm standing here today for Edna, who had no one else to speak for her. And I'd urge everyone in the room to please go to our homepage and sign the petition for Edna's Law. Edna's Law would put the victim of silence at the heart of the legislation, because it's the victim of silence that pays the price. And if we really want to change things, please sign that petition and show your support for Edna's Law. Thank you.